Hello, welcome. This is Chinese community January 21st AMA with Bram, with Hema from Hema Dao, and Ria, the creator of the art creator of the God of Crypto NFT. I guess we should let everyone have a chance to introduce themselves. Bram, could you go first? I mean, your reputation precedes you.
I'm Bram. I'm mostly known for creating BitTorrent, but last couple of years I've been making Chia.
I heard like 1/3 of the internet activity is accounted for BitTorrent. Not sure if
Well,
that's true.
That was true at one point. I mean, I haven't.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Okay, thank you.
Okay, actually, the Chinese community very familiar with me, and I'm the founder of Hema Dao. It's Chia Dao, and the first Dao in Chia ecosystem, I think. So I'm very happy to be here and share the opinions with everybody.
Ria, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. So hi all, this is X-Rhea, but you can call me Rhea, and I'm very happy to be here today. A little bit more about myself is that I'm an independent artist, graduated from one of the world's leading art school, Parsons School of Design. And the reason why I'm here today is that I have joined forces with lots of talents within the Hema DAO, and we're aiming to bring you all the future start of the collection God of Crypto. And I'm going to talk more about this in the later section. And I feel truly honored to be here, and let's have a blast.
I guess we should just go into the Q&A session. Bram, I guess the first question is, we just learned that Jing will serve as the CEO of the company, effectively beginning of this year, and you will still serve as the chairman of the board and the CTO. Is this adjustment for the, I guess, the smooth progress of the IPO? Has it affected your work and especially the technical part?
Yeah, the title changes are for IPO stuff, but our roles, our functional roles haven't actually changed. We continue to do what we have been doing. Jean has been doing the operational stuff and the money raising, and I am in charge of product and architecture.
Yeah, I read that in the blog. Jean called it like the non-promotion promote, or something like that. But second question, we see Chia just got officially updated their website and focused more on the real user case. And Chia looks more like a blockchain technology service company. Does this change the positioning of Chia as a public blockchain?
Well, our website had been badly in need of updating for a while. So the website update is not reflective of any change in strategy or messaging, except to the extent that we are doing a better job of communicating what we're up to using our website.
By the way, that's really aesthetically really pleased. Okay, the third question, Jack. As the first Chinese community Chia DAO organization, Hema DAO, you as the founder, one of the founder, what do you think of Chia's, as a blockchain?
Okay, I'm very happy to have the chance to explain my view of Chia and why I choose Chia to set up the DAO. And in my opinion, Chia is fundamentally different from any other blockchains I saw before, and they are one of very few blockchains that are really truly determined to promote the blockchain upgrades and promote the real applications of cryptocurrencies. So as Chia has always advocated to improve productivity through the technical innovation. So instead of taking advantage of public speculative, taking advantage of normal people, the blend points of technology, or use the financial leverage leverage to make bubbles, to make a profit. So Chia is totally different. I think in my personal opinion, I compare Chia with same as Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think they are basically the public chains. They are trying to do something real for the world. So Chia solved some key problems that must be solved before the blockchain enter into the mainstream applications. One is the security, and like Bitcoin, Chia is based on coin-set model, and it's more secure in blockchain. And the second is the decentralized, more decentralized, I think, because that's the basic idea we want to use blockchain, right? If without that, it's very hard to get the trust from especially enterprise or governments. So another point I think is very important is a Chia team. To build a public blockchain from scratch is very, very difficult. And I think Bram and his team has that capability. That's very important. They are not a new, new founder, or they have many experience before. They know how to deal with the time. Any successful thing needs really a long time. You may have some problems, difficulties, and pressures from the society. So you have to have that patience to continue to do your own stuff. So that's all. I think I believe and I trust the Chia and try to build a DAO on Chia blockchain.
Thank you. The next question goes to Bram. Bram, in a service provided to enterprise and the government, security must be the first priority. And the security has to come into two folds. One is the security of the digital asset you bring on chain, and the second one is the compliance part to the regulator. What are the advantage of Chia in these two folds? Thank you.
Well, there's kind of two levels of technical security. There's also security in the terms of securities, which it's a very different meaning of the word security. I'm not sure if there's some translation.
Oh, right. Sorry for the confusion.
Yeah. I doubt those are the same word in Chinese.
They're not.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
In terms of technical security, there's two levels of this. One of them is that you want finality on the chain, that things that are pushed onto the chain, once they get on the chain, they're staying on the chain. That's consensus level security. And that we have done using proofs of space and time, which just empirically winds up being, well, less wasteful, which is always good, but also much more distributed and much more secure in terms of total resources that go against it than proof of work does. And the time part of proof of space and time is this very technical thing that's it's a little involved. There are time lords out there doing stuff. You don't usually worry about them. We actually just got out, our partners just got improved VDF hardware for making the time lords faster to make that yet even more secure. So that's a good thing. We spent a few $1 million getting custom verifiable delay function chips done, which are faster than anything else in the world. So, and then the other part of technical security is the auditability of your smart coins that you're creating. And so you want to have a programming environment where things tend to do exactly what you think they're doing, where things are maximized for auditability and reliability, of the whole thing. And also, to a lesser extent, feeding into the first part, making it so that running a full node is relatively inexpensive so that you have better scaling. So we're in the coin set model, which lends itself very well to these things, but have some tricks built on to enable the kind of smart coin functionality that you see in Ethereum that you do not have in Bitcoin. And we have a greater scaling because of this, although we are not using that to create more on-chain transaction capacity. We're using it to improve the number of full nodes that there are. So there's ridiculous numbers, over 100,000 full nodes in the world, and it requires very little resources to run one. And that's another metric of decentralization that you want to optimize for. And then there's just on the business level, you really want from a legal standpoint for the coins to be classified as a commodity, that these are a thing that people can freely trade, where you're not going to get arrested for selling them anywhere. And we have gone through great lengths at Chia to never sell Chia the token as an investment vehicle, to make it so that it doesn't run afoul of these regulations that people have been pretending don't apply to cryptocurrency and are likely to learn en masse that that's wrong. But in terms of raising money for Chia the company, Chia's always just been a normal company. We've raised equity investment, and all of the investors own equity in the company. The company does own a pre-farm, but no portion of that has ever been sold. It's just sitting in custody right now.
Okay. Hi, Bram. We've seen Chia data layer is a very, very important tool built by Chia and for enterprises, government use. I think the one of the example is the climate warehouse, and they I guess they renamed it now. What exactly does it solve the problem in the enterprise application, and can it be understand as the a very useful bridge link on-chain and off-chain data? Thank you.
Yeah, so what data layer does is report data on chain. If people have data that they want to tell the world this is what it is, they can report the entirety of that data on chain. Now, technically speaking, they are not putting all of that data on chain. They are putting a commitment to it, what is called a Merkle root of the data set on chain, but they are committing to it in a way that can be audited by other people. And this can allow multiple entities to collaborate together, to have audited books. And it can also, although this is not an important feature for the Climate Action Data Trust, or at least not to them right now, I think this is a very important feature for lots of things. If you want to enable commerce on top of data that you're reporting, if you want it to be used as an oracle, if people say want to pay other people to transfer ownership in something or to modify something in some way, then they can commit funds on chain that are then claimable by the other party if that data layer object reports that the particular change of ownership that they wanted has actually happened. And so this is a really good way of very seamlessly enabling commerce on top of just about any set of data that's getting reported.
Would you actually call this as an oracle, like other blockchain like Link?
What? As a what?
As an oracle.
Oracle.
The data layer.
Yeah. I think I used the term oracle there.
Okay.
In cryptography, an oracle is a generic term for anything that reports any information that's trusted. Okay. But it's very frequent in commerce to have escrow agents. But an escrow agent tends to be very expensive and tends to be problematic because the escrow agent themselves winds up sitting on all the money and then can steal it all. And so they need to be very trusted. And this is often a very expensive thing, where if they are just a third-party oracle, they are not sitting on the money, and it would cause a pretty significant collusion with a counterparty for them to do any fraud. So that's much less friction and much cheaper and much easier to deploy.
Jack, I saw Hema DAO also implement data layer technology in the Passport NFT. Could you elaborate more about this?
Yes, Bram is here. Maybe you can correct me if we make a wrong plan. HermaDAO is a community-driven DAO organization. So a very basic problem we have now is how to identify real members, how to record their personal information while protecting their privacy from disclosure, and how to record their contributions and activities in the community, etc. Anyway, if just by DID, I think is not enough. We want to combine the DID with NFT and the data layer. That is to say the basic personal information of members is recorded on the chain, and the activity records of the members are placed or recorded in the database of the chain. So, personal information are rarely changed. So, and the amount of the data is not big, small. It's safe to record on the chain, and can somehow, protect their privacy information. However, the personal activity data is often changed. They need added or deleted. So we think it's more suitable to put them on off the chain. So we think data layer is very suitable for this kind of application scenarios, and that is our architecture of our passport NFT and GOC NFT, which means God of Crypto NFT. Passport NFT record the personal information and the level of members. But God of Crypto NFT is not only the certification for members to participate in activities like today's AMA. They are also act as a visa on the passport, as an activity record of the chain. So that's totally our idea.
Bram, do you want to elaborate on that first?
Well, what we're building at Chia are kind of the building blocks, right? We're building basic things. We're building data layer. We built cats. We built Singleton. I'm working on building up state channels so that people can play games peer-to-peer against each other. And when it comes to more complex rules and bigger deployments, that requires more bespoke custom work than we're doing right now.
Hey, Bram, next question also goes to you. In the recent blog, Jing mentioned, the killer app, the custody app in Chia. It looks like it solved the existing issues in the traditional blockchains. I guess as you mentioned before, what the world needs is a custody solution, but what wants a Ponzi scheme. So can you say a little more about that, the custody solution of Chia? Thank you.
Yeah. So when you keep your funds in a bank, and here I know a lot more about Western banks than Chinese banks, but I imagine they're similar. When you hold your funds in a bank, there's rules of custody that the bank is providing for you, that you, if you are to lose access to your account, if your cards get stolen, if things that happen, there are ways that you can regain access to your accounts, and that there are things that can be done to stop fraudulent transactions from happening, that they're slowed down, they can be reversed, things along those lines. When you're using like Bitcoin, it doesn't feel like this. Bitcoin feels very cash and carry. Just you're carrying around bills, you send the money over and it's gone. Now, a lot of the same functionality that banks are providing for you can be done using cryptocurrencies. They, in fact, can be done better using cryptocurrencies, but unfortunately, that hasn't been, to date, a big focus of development, because people don't get excited about better security and pay lots of money for it. They get excited about number go up. So I've always been very excited to have the opportunity to make it so that there are these better custody solutions that always that have much better transparency and end user control for exactly how their recovery options work than what it is that banks provide to you today, and actually are an improvement in the state of the art.
Next question also goes to Bram. Bram, next question, clawbacks. The clawbacks function ensure the safety of the both participating party in the transaction. But you can set a time limit. How can the taker be sure that transaction will not be canceled maliciously?
So when you have a clawback transaction that's sent, there are a few different use cases that this enables here. The very most basic one is just ensuring against someone fat fingering a transaction. That is, you are not thinking so much about an active attacker, you're just worried that you cut and pasted an address to a recipient wrong, or you had an out-of-date address for them. So the idea there is you attempt to make the payment, and then the recipient is either able to claim it or they're not. So you contact them later on and say, hey, did you get it? And if they did not, you pull it back. So that is, for that particular use case, you're not very concerned about a man-in-the-middle attacker. If you are concerned about a man-in-the-middle attacker, the model there, well, this is something I was thinking about last week, so we haven't built it yet. But the model there is that Alice is going, or excuse me, Bob is going to send his address to Alice over an insecure channel, is the idea, or a slightly secure channel. Alice is then going to attempt to make a payment to Bob on chain. That's clawbackable, right? So Bob, Alice and Bob can then contact each other over a secure channel. Like if you are trying to deposit your funds on exchange, you log into the exchange, right? Now, the concern here is that there might be a man in the middle, right? So there's a clawback period, there's a point in time up until which these funds can be reclaimed by Alice. So what you're concerned about potentially is a very sophisticated man in the middle attacker, where Alice has sent a payment that she thinks is to Bob, but it's actually to Carol. Carol has meanwhile made another payment that is to Bob for the same amount that kind of looks like it's from Alice. Alice and Bob connect and say, is the payment pending? Yep, looks like it's pending. Okay, cool, we're good. And then after they figure it's good, and Alice goes, all right, I'm not worrying about it, then only after that does Carol then withdraw the payment from Bob that she made, and then Alice doesn't notice that this happens potentially, and loses out on the time interval at which she could claw back the payment that had actually been initiated to Carol. So in order to stop that, there's a neat bit of cryptography where Alice and Bob can both see a code, an authentication code for this transaction, and when they're communicating over their secure channel, they compare the authentication code and make sure that it's the same for both of them. And if it's not, they know that they have an attacker who's messing with them. So that's kind of a slightly cryptographic answer to that question, but that's sort of top of mind for me because that's what I was working on that last week.
好，well, 感谢小金。Next question also goes to Bram. Bram, recently you're working on state channel. I'm not sure if that's still true or not, but what practical problem are you trying to solve? Does it involve using any L2 application, fast payments? Thank you.
Yeah, so the short answer is long-term, yes. The immediate thing that I'm working on is gaming. So the idea is that if you want to play poker, against somebody else, you play this over a channel. So you set up one transaction at the beginning of your session, and then you play your session, and then there's another transaction at the end of the session that closes it out. And this prevents the opposing side from cheating within the rules of the game. Now it can't, by its nature, it can't prevent the other side from playing really slow or potentially using outside assistance where their friend helps them play better than they can play on their own. But it does keep them from cheating as far as the rules of the actual game are concerned. And it does make it so you can play any number of hands in a session very rapidly, as long as there's no problem, as long as people are well connected and play nicely with each other. So that's a useful thing in and of itself. The reason for working on that is, well, first off, it is a fairly sophisticated use of state channels, but also it's something that can be deployed immediately and has immediate utility. Long term, the plan is to start having routed state channels to have Lightning-like functionality where it's a whole L2 network to allow direct payments routed through intermediaries between peers so that you can have near instantaneous payments happening securely without any credit lines going on. But that's longer term. The downside of those things is that you kind of need the whole payment network working in order to motivate it. And also it has to be at a point where people are really wanting very fast transactions, and transactions on chain have gotten relatively expensive in order to justify using it. So that's all further off, but I do plan on getting there eventually.
Yeah. Bram, when will be the Chia's poker game online?
When it's ready.
When it's ready.
I'm working on it right now. I have a lot of notes. It's kind of a big project. One thing that's going on is I'm working on it as an opportunity to improve the entire environment in which things are working. So I'm giving a lot of feedback on the Chia Lisp language and how that can be done better. And I will in the future be giving feedback on the Chia Lisp wallet, also giving feedback on our testing environment. There's a lot of things going on that I am viewing. Part of the output of what I'm doing right now is improving those tools for everyone else's development as well. So we have Art is now working on the compiler, and something I have been doing a fair amount of is I will write some code which doesn't work yet because the compiler doesn't support it, and then wait for Art to add those features. But I think I'm going to be doing less of that moving forward. That process seems to be winding down. So, but Chia Lisp is getting new features that do make it much more convenient to write in and much more like a normal programming language that you're used to. So you're having like actual loop constructs and things like that.
Next question, Bram. We know that one of the grant, Hashgreen, they are working on Chia's first AMM, and you're also giving guidance and stuff. Some of our community members also working on a UTXO AMM model. Is developing AMM on UTX model particularly very difficult after the product is finished? When you're using the when you're using the AMM, is there any difference between account model based AMM and UTX model AMM?
Well, that gets kind of complicated, and the thing is, the short technical answer to the question is that it comes down to a problem of aggregating transactions. What transactions can be aggregated with which other ones? Ethereum is designed in such a way that all transactions can be aggregated with all other transactions, essentially, simplifying just a little bit, but that comes at the cost of running full nodes being extremely expensive and there being ample MEV opportunities for reordering, and it being much harder to audit anything and have any idea what things are going to do in advance. So increasingly sophisticated transaction aggregation can be done in the mempool of Chia, although we don't have any right now. We are adding some that's very simple. That's just if you have essentially an Oracle reporting the same thing across multiple transactions, they can all be aggregated together because the thing that they have in common is the same coin with the same solution. That can be made increasingly more sophisticated, although you can also get around it by making it so that there is a party that's doing the aggregations of all the transactions going to the AMM and then submitting them. The problem with that is that you may then have a problem where where someone DOSes the whole thing. They just make a higher fee transaction that kicks out the transaction that's sending everything to the AML. So there are ways around this where you can specifically design transactions in such a way that they basically will always aggregate with the AMM, yada, yada, yada. The problem with all of these things is I'm not really very excited about AMMs anymore. The issue with AMMs is they're slow. They're locked into a particular very simplistic trading strategy forever. Now, historically, they have outperformed people actually trading in cryptocurrencies, but a lot of that has been because these have been very immature markets. And now they're getting to be much more mature markets where people are beating the AMMs with cross-chain trading and the like. A big problem here is that the potential MEV against AMMs is directly motivating a lot of the very unpleasant centralization that's going on in Ethereum, which is not something that I'm particularly keen on anything like that happening in Chia. So I would like to, moving forward, both because it's easier in some ways, but also because it's more flexible for the future, to have more emphasis on our existing decentralized offers functionality, and then make a much more liquid market later on by having a layer 2 solution where people can do atomic swaps across different types of tokens over the layer 2, which can be actually much, much faster than an AMM can, because you're not limited to block times for anything to happen.
Okay. Bram, the NFT1 standard already offer, functionality like loyalty and stuff to protect the author. Will be any updates in the near future? For example, will fragmentation, reminting NFT coming soon or ever?
Well, there's tools built on top of the NFT standard that are being worked on. Although, like for other things, our view at Chia is we at Chia the company can make some of the more foundational building block tools with the expectation at some point that it kind of becomes more of a community thing where people outside of Chia the company are building things. We are trying to make a combination of the fundamental like building blocks written in Chia Lisp for doing that, and then build a development environment that makes it reasonably easy for people to make more extensions on top of things.
Jack, Hermod also issued a God of Crypto NFT on Chia. What's your opinion on Chia's NFT standard?
Yes, Chia's NFT1 standard completely solved the problem of the ownership of the royalties. That is to say, the creator has the complete right to handle their royalties by himself. It protects the creator's autonomy of interest very well. But we believe that NFT is not just work for art or personal creations. It also has a wider application spaces in the terms of games, digital asset property rights, or personal information ownership. Chia's NFT standard, I think I remember it will be continuous, iterated according to some vertical application directions. We believe that the future Chia NFT standard will have various precise designs for different purposes. Yeah.
Okay. X-Ray, when it comes to God of Crypto, as a professional art creator from Parsons School of Arts in New York, is there anything special you want to share with us in terms of this, creation?
Sure. I do want to talk a bit more about God of Crypto as a creative NFT project. So first of all, God of Crypto, or GOC in short, is a community-initiated project based on one of Himadao's core and essential model, which goes, in the crypto world, everyone is a crypto god. I know when you heard the model for the first time, your reaction might be something like, wow, that's a bold statement to make. But from my personal take, what the model is truly suggesting is that due to the open and traceable nature of crypto and Chia, us individuals are given an equal chance for the first time to truly be a part of something that is fair, efficient, decentralized, and futuristic. And at Himadao, we wish to honor such values and beliefs, to share our visions and dreams about the NFT future, especially in the Chia chain with everyone in the crypto world, by bringing you the God of Crypto. And by initiating this project, we're basically giving out invitations to you all to ride alongside with us in this journey of becoming the next great thing in Chia NFT chain, and maybe to grow to a point that we can write a godlike story that belongs to us, to Chia, and to the Web 3.0 world. And also a little bit more about the chosen theme of GOC, which is centered around the 12 zodiac signs of Western astrology. And since our God of Crypto NFTs are categorized as PFPs, which are intended to be used as profile pictures for social attributes, we want to create something that is humanoid, that is vibrant, memorable, and maybe rhymes with the pop culture. And we also want it to be international, and most importantly, something that can create a sense of belongingness to our potential members. And hence, we picked the zodiac signs of Western astrology to be GOC's main theme. And since zodiac signs are widely adopted, talked about, and simply popular among billions of people works on Earth, that's why we chose the theme. And moving on to the aesthetics and styles we used in creating GOC, if you have been following our social medias or have seen our sneak peeks, you all notice that all of GOC's style is like hand-drawn illustrations. And the reason why we picked this style is that we think the current Chia chain NFTs are dominated by pixels and AI-generated pictures. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. We just want to bring more diversity into the whole picture. And in addition, the God of Crypto collection, it has like an impeccable sense of taste and large pool of traits, variety, and characters to explore with. And on an ending note, we bring to you what we bring to you right now, like the 1,888 pieces, is not the end form of GOC. It's only the beginning. And as the creative leader, I have faith in the future of Chia NFTs and GOC, and want us to join us to create some like godlike miracles together.
All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, as our interview come close to the end, Bram, this is a great honor to have you on AMA. Today is also the launch day of the NFT God of Crypto. In order to express our gratitude, we'll give you a set of 3 GOC, NFTs. We've checked your zodiac signs. I guess on the, public information, your birthday is October the 12th, which belongs to, forget my astrology, I have zero knowledge in astrology, but it belongs to, I guess it has 3, it's Libra, it's Capricorn and Cancer. I guess there's a May one and 2 supporting ones. I have no idea. So we'll give you this 3 zodiac sign of NFTs as our belongs to these three belong to our first batch of 1,888 Genesis NFTs. Can you give us your receiving address?
Yeah, I need to put one of those together actually.
Okay.
So you mean okay. We'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. 谁 Bernard 来 coordinate 一下这个抽奖好不好
OK，
我来示范一下。开始。这是开始了吗？OK， 开始了。结束。
？OK。
好，恭喜第一位中奖者。
Bram, we're doing this little quick, draw thing. You will, as the guested owner, will draw someone for the audience who will also get a free, God of Crypto NFT. And if you could say start and stop, Bernard will coordinate with you to draw the, to make the draw.
Okay, sure. Let's see whenever. Start.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, thank you. X-ray.
来了。
OK，
好，那我直接开始。停。哦，可以。
OK，
好，感谢。All right, guess we're running out of time. We open to, I guess, just one question from the audience.
Bram, can you talk about like the compressing plot? Is there anything you can tell us about the progress and the efficiency?
Yeah, for compressed Chia plots, there's these time-space trade-offs that we've known. We always knew that there were potential time-space trade-offs, and we'd publish saying here's the amount of potential compression that we think you can reasonably get out of them. It turns out there's a technique for doing them that's actually a lot simpler than the one we were aware of that gets a few more percent sort of it's complicated, but for practical purposes, it gets a few more percent compression than the technique we had been aware of for compressing plots. So we've gone and implemented that, and we have also implemented plotting using GPUs as well. So this is the compressed plots will probably leave everyone about the same as they were before. The reason for us releasing them is we want everyone to have access to the most compressed, best tech for doing plots. And the GPU plotting will be just kind of good for everyone because it will make it much more convenient and much less resources involved in initial plotting of your space. So we're in the process of releasing those things.
Okay, the final finale. Bram, the community asked me if you can say Happy New Year in Chinese. I'm not sure.
I don't know. My experience with Chinese phonemes is minimal, but if you say it, maybe I can try and.
Okay, 新年快乐.
新年快乐.
That's great.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
So
Thank
everybody,
you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Bram.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody for coming and 给大家拜年了啊。Everybody has
感谢大家，新年快乐
Happy New Year, and today is 大年30，所以大家都要跟家人团聚啊。团团圆圆，快快乐乐，健健康康，明年发大财。
好，拉盘了
拉盘，Cheer to the moon.
Chia to the moon. All right, thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you. 新年快乐。
Happy New Year. Bye.
Bye.
Bye everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.